Good day. Today we're going to be discussing loops. So, what's this loop for? Chapter 17, right? Uh, yeah, so we have this basically this weather prediction app or forecasting app, uh, and basically want to discuss how this loop essentially creates this. So let's talk about it in the debugger. Alright, so here you have the variable days, an array with all the days within the array, and then you have weather with all the weather conditions contained in it. Then you have this variable max temp, which is 100, and a variable min temp, which is 0. And then generate weather function is called. So as you can see, it's called, and now the function is over here. So within this function here, we have a for loop. So let's break at this part of the for loop. For loop, and the variable is declared, and 0 is assigned to it, and then I less than days dot length, and then also incremented. So when you step over, it moves to this part of the loop, right? In this part of the loop, it goes to the variable days. So we have here days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? So basically with the array, so the for loop will like iterate over the days array. So it will go through all of these days, and it starts at index 0. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And it iterates through the days in the array, and it runs until I reaches the day's length, right? So until it reaches the length of this array, it runs, and then it covers all days of the week, basically. And that's what this for loop is doing. Then when you step over, it moves here to var weather today, right? And then what happens here is you have this weather variable over here, right? And basically math.random here generates a random decimal number between 0 and 1. So it generates a number between 0 and 1, and basically it just allows you to choose a random number, for a random number to be generated. So when you step over here, it goes to var temp today, so temperature of the day, and then that random generator is shown here as well. Let me see. And when you step over, comes here by document.getElement by ID. And as soon as you step over, it goes back. So the loop, that first loop ends, and because of the incrementation, it's incremented, then this is shown as a result. And then the same thing goes and happens again, and then the results are shown here. So the loop continues all the way through each day of the week, right? And it gives the temperature for each day, basically. So then the next day this is Wednesday probably, and when I step over to days, this is where it goes through each day of the week. And then I step over to with the weather today, basically. And when I step over, it shows that weather for the day. And yeah, that's basically how this for loop works, essentially. Every time I step over, it shows the specific weather for that day. And yeah, that's the for loop essentially in this in this code. So yeah, the variables here are declared, and then we have max temp set to 100, then the minimum temperature 0, and yeah, the main thing is this for loop within this function, right? It allows the what's this? It basically goes through each value in the days array and each value in the weather array, and as it goes through each of them, then this gets printed. And because of the what's this, math.floor math.random multiplied by the weather, right? So it's multiplied by the weather. Then what that does is it allows you, it basically shows the degrees over here, and yeah, that process continues as long as the for loop is running continuously. So yeah, that's for loops in a nutshell for this chapter. If I can also explain another example of for loops, like here. Yeah, so here we have another for loop here. So the variable I equals to 10. I is greater than 0, but I is being decremented, right? And then you alert the final what's this display, which is I. And then based off that, after the countdown happens, because it's being decremented, then this is the final result or the final string that's displayed because of the alert. So let's see how that works on the console. So then here it says 10, and then it keeps decrementing 9, 8, 7, right? And it does that continuously. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then after that it presents blast off. That's because we were decrementing in the for loop, right? Essentially. But the for loop always starts here by this variable, which is 10 declared to it, and it's saying I is greater, I is greater than 0, right? And then here it decrements basically. So starting from 10, it goes all the way down, and then after that, after it goes through the whole loop, so when it goes through the variable and it goes through this condition as well, I is greater than 0, what happens is it alerts, it goes to an alert, and then it gives you this this result 10. And then when I step over, it starts again and it goes to alert, then it gives 9, all the way until it goes down to 1. So when I continue stepping over, it continuously goes through the conditions, right? And the last condition it goes to is this basically this decrement, so that it can take the number down, and then it goes to blast off, and then the loop ends. So yeah, that's basically loops, a summary of loops. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, that's the summary for the chapter.